Have you ever felt nervous about stepping into a gun range for the very first time? Well, you're not alone. In this video is, well, made just for you. A brand new shooter who may not have any equipment or have any essentials. You know what? I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know to feel comfortable, safe, and ready to enjoy your experience. So stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make your first visit to the range a success. So before you go to the gun range, I have a few things that I want to share with you that's going to help you prepare. So first thing you need to do is do some research. So before you head out, make sure you check out the range's website and give them a call and find out a few specific things, such as do they have any specific rules? Like, do they have a dress code? Like some ranges will require you to have closed-in shoes. Next thing, can you rent equipment or can you borrow anything? So do the range need you to actually bring your own equipment? Next thing is I want you to confirm ammunition. Some ranges will allow you to have some ammunition to try, and others they'll actually need you to bring some ammunition on your own. Next thing I need you to ask is fees. Yes, that's right. Every single range, there are fees associated with you going to that range. And the next thing is accessibility. So for the people just like me that have some issues accessing some locations, it is a great thing to do is give a range a call and ask them if they have any accessibility issues at their particular range, such as wheelchair access. So you may be wondering what you need to bring. So first thing, bring some photo identification. Yeah, that's right. You need to bring photo identification simply because documents. Next thing I need you to guys to bring is some ear and eye protection. If the range doesn't provide them, make sure you head to the local gun shop and pick up a set of good glasses and earplugs. So a simple set of earplugs will do the job when using 22 ammunition. But if you're shooting something a little bit bigger than that, I recommend you actually get a decent set of hearing protection. The next thing is ammunition. If the club doesn't say you anything, you will need to bring a licensed friend with you because like places here in Australia, you cannot actually purchase ammunition without a firearms license. So, make if you have a friend that is into shooting, ask them saying, hey, like I want to try, can you like bring me some ammunition? And the last thing is I want you guys to bring a positive attitude and a willingness to learn. That's right. You know, having a great attitude, going to the range because you guys are going to learn so much on your first visit to a gun range. Next thing I need everybody to do is familiarize yourself with gun safety. So yes, it is your responsibility to familiarize yourself with gun safety. I want you to treat every single firearm as it is loaded. Always keep your finger off the trigger and have the bolt removed until you're ready to shoot. So obviously there are different types of firearms, but if it's a bolt gun or anything like that, leave the bolt on the bench until the last thing. Don't worry about the bolt until you're 100% ready to shoot. Always point the muzzle in a safe direction. Ensure that you ask the range officer the range procedures because some ranges actually want you to point the muzzle to the ground or some other ranges want you to have the muzzle pointed up. And of course, know your targets and what's beyond it because some ranges you will be shooting in urban environments where, they might have bullet catchers or something like that. So you want to make sure you know what's behind the target. You don't want to be shooting up in the sky where that round could land into a residential area with houses and everything like that. So you always want to know where is your target and what's beyond it. And look, the most crucial thing, always listen to the range officer and listen to his instructions. Now, I just can't stress this enough. Always listen to their instructions because what they're telling you is for your safety and everybody else's safety. They're not there for a joke. They're not there to have fun. Well, yeah, they are, but they're there to keep you safe. So what they say, please always listen and do it. So feeling nervous is completely normal. Many first timers worry about safety, following the rules, or how they're perceived by others. Well, the good news is when you arrive at a range, you'll quickly realize that Oh, they are extremely welcoming, and the environment where the staff and fellow shooters are extremely eager to help. And so, if you'd like, make sure you check out this video, the card up at the top, where you can watch my personal story about how I'm shooting with a disability and where I share how, oh boy, how supportive that environment is and how I felt like I really was at home. So, that being said, let's walk through what you can expect when you step through those doors for the very first time at a range. So, this is what you can expect when arriving at a gun range. First thing is checking in. So when you arrive, you'll likely check in at a front desk, or you may even need to ask for the range safety officer. If the range does not have a front desk, like some of the ranges that I go to, there's no welcome area, there's no reception. Once you turn up, you'll find some paperwork and you'll need to find the range safety officer. And so don't hesitate to tell them that it is your very first time. Most rangers are very happy to guide newcomers, and they may even ask or even offer if you'd like to have a quick tour around the facility. So please remember, most range officers are volunteers and they're there to help you and enjoy your sport. So here's a tip as well. When you're first time at a range, there will be paperwork that you need to understand and read through it carefully. It usually outlines your basic safety and other liability information. Some ranges may even ask you about your level of experience and your firearm preference, but be honest. It really does help the range safety officers tailor their advice to your needs. Many ranges will also provide a safety orientation. Pay very close attention as well. In these safety demonstrations, they cover range specific rules and procedures. So examples of, some of the things that are covered. Obviously, these are very range specific, and this is why I'm saying, contact your local range to find out their specific rules and regulations and procedures. But in general, most range commands are ceasefire or hot range or live range or something like that. Next thing is I want you to understand like through those orientations, and the range safety officer, he's going to, or her, is going to show you emergency procedures, like what to do when there's a malfunction or a misfire with your firearm. Every single range will have a different policy. You just don't want to open up if your rifle goes bang or click, I should say, not bang, but if it goes click and it doesn't shoot and you got a round in the chamber, you need to know what your procedure is at a particular range, because when you go click, you don't want to go open up the bolt straight away. That could be potential danger because that round could actually go bang and that could come back in your face. So really understand those procedures. The next thing they're going to show you or talk to you about is how to safely carry the firearm. Again, you know, particular ranges will ask you to have the muzzle down or muzzle up. So it's very important that you understand that. Next thing, please, don't be afraid to ask questions. If there is something that you really are not clear about, staff and the volunteers and all the members are very happy and very, ready and eager to help you. The next thing that will happen is staff will assign you your shooting lane or bench. So if you're renting a firearm, they'll explain it and how to use it safely, including loading and unloading. So what to expect in your lane. So target distances. Rangers might have a system that will allow you to move your targets closer or further away automatically. Always ask for a demonstration if needed. However, most outdoor ranges will require you to wait. That's right, they'll need you to wait until there's a ceasefire for the range to be closed before you can proceed to set up or go out to the distance to adjust your target boards. And the range officer, more than likely, it will help you set up and place your firearm and get everything ready when it is your very first time. Also, here's a tip as well. If the range is very, very busy, you may need to wait for a lane to become available. Use this time to observe the others and familiarize yourself with your environment. It's a great time. Please, you're there to enjoy, but also learn how to be safe. If you have time, please sit there, please observe. The next thing is range etiquette. Always keep your conversations at a very low volume to avoid distracting others. You know what? It is honestly, it is the worst thing to do when you're sitting there cackling like a bunch of witches and you're on the line and you're concentrating and you're trying to get your 10 ring and you're sitting there with 249 out of 250 and you got some guy going blah, 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 blah. On the weekend, I did blah, blah. It's the worst thing to do. So please keep your volume down. Next thing to do is handle your firearms only when you're in your lane or ready to shoot, or you have been given permission from the range officer. When you're at the range, you want to only handle your firearms when it is the appropriate time. You don't want to go to the rack and pick up your firearm and wave it around and saying, hey, look at this, Jack, my firearm has got a suppressor or a muzzle brake or, some sort of fancy trigger on it. No, do not do that. Always make sure you wait until you have permission from the range officer. And of course, please be courteous when retrieving your targets or resetting your equipment. Ensure others are aware before stepping away from your lane. So always let the range officer know your intentions. And of course, cleaning up. Some ranges will require you to collect your spent brass, while others will handle it for you. Those ranges are really, really cool. Always double check their rules and leave your lane tidy for the next shooter. And please pay close attention to your lane or bench number and ensure that you are shooting on your corresponding target number. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy or girl that shoots the other lane's target, because yeah, that can be annoying. So let's have a quick run through of the commands that you may hear. Again, different rules, different regulations at different ranges, but this is just a general idea. So if it's your first time, ask the range officer for a quick explanation of the commands that you'll hear for that specific range. For example, hot range or range open. Firearms may be loaded and shooting is allowed. Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. If you hear that, stop shooting immediately and follow the range officer's instructions. It is imperative that you do not shoot when you hear ceasefire. Something may have happened down the range. Somebody could have got hurt. Who knows? If you hear ceasefire, do not shoot. Make sure you render your firearm safely, as safe as possible, as soon as possible. And also, most ranges, there'll be lights as well. So, most ranges, they'll have lights. Red, the range is closed, means obviously ceasefire or do not shoot. And all shooting must stop immediately. Or actually, this could be a visual indication that you can proceed past the line to go collect your targets if you're in an outdoor range. But just because the light is red, always check with the range officer before moving forward of your line. Green means live, you can load your firearms and shooting may commence. But again, just because the light's there, always wait for confirmation from the range officer. If you're unsure, yell out and say, hey, are we allowed to shoot? So, feeling nervous about firing a gun for the very first time? Well, you know what? It's completely normal, and it really is a new and powerful experience. If you're feeling overwhelmed, remember that even a seasoned shooter were once beginners too. I honestly recommend that you start with a smaller caliber like a 22 LR. It really is a quiet, light, and perfect for building confidence. I do not recommend you start with a large caliber such as 308. It can really leave you very, very sore and, and having a deflated ego. If you're finding these tips helpful and you'd like to support my channel, please consider joining as a member. Memberships really help me create content like this and provide you with exclusive perks like early access to my videos, behind the scenes updates, and even shout outs in future videos. Your support really makes a huge difference. The next part is practice. Please practice with an unloaded firearm at first. This helps you really get comfortable without worrying about ammunition and practice the fundamentals. So fundamentals, well, I live in the world of bench rest shooting. So I'm going to show you the fundamentals of bench rest shooting. Make sure that your grip on your rifle is consistent, but also light. Avoid, trying to really hang on to it, as it can introduce unnecessary movement. Let the rifle do the work for you with minimum input from your hands. Positioning. I want you to sit comfortably. Please, it's like a first date. Don't be scared. Sit comfortably and squarely at your bench with your body aligned behind the rifle. Some of the shorter guys might have to be a little bit to the side, but you want to be in a very comfortable position. And please keep your shoulders relaxed and ensure that your shooting arm is supported naturally. Some people use a little bag, some people use like a small bit of block of timber or something like that. Whatever works for you, you want to find the most comfortable position for you. I can't tell you what's going to be comfortable for you. You need to take the time and learn that for yourselves. Next thing is make sure you adjust your seat correctly to the correct height. I've seen so many guys with very low chairs, and they're trying to peek up over, and and they're like sort of wobbly on their seats and everything like that. And I've seen guys, with their seats way too high, and they're trying to crouch down, and it just looks horrible. Take your time. If you get what I'm saying, take your time. There's no rush. No rush at all when you're at a gun range. Next thing to do is position your rifle securely in the front rest and rear bag. The rifle should be able to recoil freely without resistance. Ensure that the forend really is resting on that bag, and please do not have the forend sitting on top of the stock stop. Check out my other video, Stop Missing Shots, Most Common Bench Rest Shooting Mistakes, and that goes into how to set up your equipment properly. Next thing I need you guys to do when you're at the range and you're getting ready, I want you to look through your scope. Yes, that's right. It's time. It's finally time for you to look through your scope. Ensure that your crosshairs are perfectly aligned on your target. That's right. If you're on bench 6, make sure you have target 6 when you're looking through your scope. When you're looking through your scope, ensure that your parallax is set correctly. If your image is very, very blurry when you're looking through your scope, your parallax knob is the knob on the left-hand side of your scope. Normally, adjust it to your correct distance. Check it again. Once the image in your scope looks really clean and clear, you're good to go. As a beginner, take slow, steady breaths and squeeze the trigger gently. Yes, we finally got to the time where shooting begins. Squeeze the trigger gently, applying consistent, smooth pressure on the trigger without jerking that trigger, using only the pad of your finger to really hone in on that precision. After all those initial shots, you know what? You guys will feel a wave of accomplishment. And I did. I remember when I first shot, this is awesome. This is so good. It felt really, really good. So the nervous energy that you started with will transform into excitement as you realize how rewarding this sport actually is. So your first time to the range is the start of an exciting adventure. There's so much more to discover, and I'm here to guide you every single step of the way. And if you're ready to level up your skills, make sure you check out one of these videos on the screen. They're really packed full of tips to help you grow as a shooter.